Hey everyone, today we are diving into decimals a little bit deeper, right? We're going to be thinking today about what is this whole process of how we now use those equalities, things we've talked about before, right? Greater than, less than, or equal to. How do we use these equalities to really compare the value, I would say, not even order, but to compare the value of them, right? So we got a three-step process that's always great. We're going to model the decimals. We are going to look for which one has the most shaded, and we'll talk about how that lets us know which one is larger. And then we're just going to make sure we insert the correct equality. So let's dive in, and we'll start here. This is our blank for where that equality will go, right? One of those equalities. And let's go here. All right, so we have 7/10 and 3/10, and we really want to be thinking about which one of these would be larger, or are they equal to one another, and then what is the equality that goes into there. So that first step we're looking at right here is we're going to model the decimals. So if we remember from before, we're going to take 7/10, right? That's what this place value is. It's the tenths, which tells me then that's the whole is being cut into that many pieces. It's being cut into 10 pieces. That's why it's a tenth. So we are going to go ahead and take a whole. We're going to model this whole, and we're going to partition it into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut that in half. There's 10 pieces. Again, we want our partitions to be close to the same. Obviously, freehand, we're not going to get it perfect. I do understand that some of these boxes are a little larger than others, but for now, right, we want to go in and we're just going to shade in 7/10. So there's 6 and 7. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and take our second number and model that. And again, we want to create a model that's really close to the same size. That way we can really compare things, right? The size of the model does not change the value. Remember that. I keep talking about that. But we do want to make sure that when we model, our models are pretty similar in size so that we can really see. So this one is 3/10. So again, I split it into 10 parts, but I only have to shade in 3 this time, right? So that second step is like look for the model that has the most shaded. That's how we know which one is larger, right? 7/10, as you can see over here, it has more shaded in. There's more of it covering the whole, whereas 3/10 has a smaller amount, which means that 7/10 is actually larger than or greater than 3/10. It's a larger value. There's more shaded. I've covered more of my whole. I'm pretty close to 1. I'm closer to 1 than I am with 3/10. So again, choosing the correct equality, the open part of the symbol goes to the largest value. So 7/10 is greater than 3/10 is how we would read that. Okay, well, let's keep on going. All right, practice, 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 practice. Let's say in this case we have 34 hundredths, and let's go with um, 5/10, right? So here we are, we're comparing the differences here in terms of place value. This one goes up to the hundredths place, right? 34 hundredths, and this goes to the tenths place. So again, we're going to model each decimal. So I'm going to draw out my model. And maybe I'll already start to build this model. Again, trying to make them pretty similar. Now this gets to 100th, which means I got to partition this into 100 pieces, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That will make 10, right? You always do one less. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh boy. 9. Okay, that is not the best model. We will admit that, but hopefully this will still be enough to help us out. All right, so I want to shade in 34 hundredths. So I know, again, one thing that's going to help me, this place value is the tenths, right? Which means that's 10. That's one row of these. So there's 10, and I have 3. So there's 10, 20, and 30. And then I just need 4 boxes, little boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 34 hundredths. Okay, so let's model out 5/10. 1, 2. Oh wait, I'm not doing hundreds. I guess I don't need so much space, huh? Whew. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, cut in half. There's tenths. As we can see right away, tenths are a tenth. That's like one of these boxes is always going to be larger than a hundredth. Look at that. That hundredth is super small, which is true because tenths are like dimes when it comes to money, and hundredths are like pennies, right? That would make sense. A dime is more than a penny. All right, so we have 5 tenths here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I look at this point, which one's covering most, it might be a little hard to decipher. Like, I don't know if I can really tell here, right? So one thing that might be helpful is next time I build my models, I might want to try to build them on top of each other like this. And then when I shade out, I'm just going to like pretend, right? When I shade, I may be able to see better because they're kind of like aligned with each other. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing is we could use place value. Like we've been modeling, but we could use place value to think about this. This is 5 tenths, and I was talking about that idea that that's like a dime. So this would like be like 50 cents because there's 5 dimes. And this would be like 34 pennies, which is 34 cents. So if we even just think about the value of money, we can see that 5 tenths is larger. And even if we look in the tenths place, a 5 is going to be larger than a 3. So that helps us understand this one. So there's a couple strategies for this. I know it's not always clear cut. And that's why we want to practice all of our different strategies. So let's try one more, right? Same idea, same steps. I've been using different language just to kind of help us think about different ways we can say these numbers that all mean the same. But let's go ahead and take something like, I don't know, 2 tenths. And let's do 9 hundredths. Okay, so again, always thinking about place value to help you with your model. And I said before it might help to stack them, so I'm going to try that this time. So I'm going to start by modeling 2 tenths. So I'm going to draw out a box. I said stack, and I didn't even leave room for that. Let's retry that. Let's see, where can we stack these a little bit better? You know what? I'm going to move this over a little bit. Seems like I don't need that much. Okay, 9 hundredths. So now let's move over here and run a stack. So here's my first model. And then here's my second model. So this first one is going to be 2 tenths here. So we're working in the tenths, which means I'm going to cut this into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, right? I do 5 sections, cut them in half. That's going to get me 10. And I'm shading in 2. And I'm going to shade on this side. And I'll show you why when we stack them, it helps to shade in the same areas because it's a lot easier to compare. Okay, so there's 2 tenths. And now we have 9 hundredths. So that means that this model here needs to be partitioned or cut into 100 pieces. This has been a challenge, right? Building these models is not always super easy. So don't stress out. Like, it's okay to erase and try them again and get them nice and clean. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, see, even there, I don't like that. I like tried to give me extra space. So let's redo that. So I can get a little bit larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes sense. 5 about in the middle. 6, 7, 8, 9, roughly. Okay. And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh boy. Just gonna put 9 here. Okay. So now that we've kind of put this together, we have our grid. Again, is it the cleanest? No. But let's kind of think about how we're going to shade this. We need 9 hundredths, which means I just need 9 of these boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a line there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so if we looked and compared at like which one has more shading, 2 tenths definitely has a lot more shaded in it, because look at this. It would like kind of covers like this much. Draw a little line to kind of show like 2 tenths would shade all the way up to here, and over here we still have these areas are blank. So it looks to me that 2/10 is going to be greater than 900, which again can be tricky because we heard the word hundredth in this, but yet it's smaller. And that's the thing with decimals, right? We got to realize that place values have different meaning than they do in whole numbers. So 900ths, and again, like I said, hundreds are like pennies. So this would be like 9 pennies, and tenths are dimes. So I have 2 dimes, that'd be 20 cents. So when we think about money again, yes, this is going to be very helpful. So think about this process and use it, right? This idea that you model and shade and line things up. And I think it will be really helpful. Remember, there's going to be assignments on this. There's going to be quizzes on this. If you have questions, post them in the Schoology Q&A. Do your best work with it. And just remember that the whole process about learning is trying. So just keep trying, keep asking questions, and then we'll just keep moving together. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your